Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Harambe's Bauble, a Magic the Gathering podcast. We are at episode 16. Here, per usual, I got my man DC. What's going on, dude?
Nothing other than tormenting my own mind with the thought of layers in Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, we've had an interesting 24 hours of exploring the world of layers together. That is for sure. I need some more Tylenol before I get more into this discussion, I think, but
We don't have
crazy,
to. We don't have to start out
crazy.
with that. It's just what's hot and heavy on my mind because it's not ever something that's come up before. And one of our friends and podmates, Dan, he brought it up, completely unrelated to what we were talking about last night in our game of four. And it's caused a whirlwind to happen in our chat.
Yeah. So, I'm down. Let's dive into it.
Dive
Let's go
in.
head
Okay.
first into the bottom of the pool. All right. So, because the other interaction that we were talking about is also kind of interesting. So
I,
maybe we can loop
I
back later on and talk
yeah.
about that too. But so how this came about was Toph, the first metal bender, which, I've been dabbling with, Dan's been dabbling with. I know you want to dabble a little bit here and there as well. And so Toph has, this static continuous ability of non-token artifacts you control are lands in addition to their other types. And we came to find out via Dan and then confirmed through other sources that if you have cards like your classic enchantment auras like Frogify that say enchanted creature loses all abilities and blah, 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 that Toph won't actually lose that ability, that non-token artifacts that you control are lands, all due to the order of layers and what hits when. And I think we've been just ramming our heads against the wall for the last 24 hours trying to make sense of it. And yeah, trying to connect some dots because there's the old adage of reading the card explains the card, and this is very clearly an example of reading the card doesn't always explain the card. And yeah, what are you thinking here on these layers conversations?
Well, so for me, it boils down to a couple things. One being that I think this is just poor game design by Wizards, and what I mean by that is, yes, I understand that layers have existed for all intents and purposes since Magic the Gathering has existed, but there's never been these insane interactions to where that the layers portion of Magic matters so much in a across all forms of Magic. Back when I used to play competitive, like actually, went to PTQs and stuff, there's just, there was never any discussion about layers. I didn't even know it was a thing until literally last night. And well, actually, I'd seen it casually mentioned before from like other accounts on Instagram and stuff like that, like trying to explain it. I was like, I don't know what this means, and I am never going to come across this. Well, since Toph is in Standard and also heavily played in Commander, turns out we might actually come across it a lot. And like like I said, to me, it feels very just over like an overlooked thing, another overlooked thing by Watsy OND R&D, not OND R&D, because why I just don't understand why you would make that sole exception. Like that gets there's a lot of things that it gets around that currently are in Standard and definitely Commander, but just Standard alone. And I never remember layers being brought up in Standard ever.
Yeah, I agree in that I've only heard it in like very niche conversations that I didn't need to really care about until
Yeah.
apparently with Toph and even with Toph, I think the layer system. I mentioned before we started recording, I was even just trying to explain to a friend of mine when we were playing just what our question was that we were trying to unravel, and just trying to articulate it in words is tricky because I mean, it doesn't make sense to me that if you have a card that says this creature loses all abilities, that there would actually be some abilities that it doesn't lose, because that's not all. So it's
No.
very, very confusing.
Yeah, like it
And
actually does
yeah,
lose
I
all
agree.
abilities, but because the card already existed before that card was played, the game constantly checks down the layers, and it if it happens, you know, at a lower level, it actually stops before it gets to that level, meaning that the ability still occurs on like the layer while it's being checked continuously. It is insanely complicated, complex. Um, who's the guy that I sent the video for? He has a person that he recommends. He goes in a deep dive about it on Instagram. What's that guy's name?
Was it Veggie Wagon
Yeah,
that you
Veggie
sent over
Wagon.
from the Decked Out team?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he shouted out one of his buddies who like explains it ad nauseum in like fine detail. And I actually haven't taken the time to go watch his video about it, but I'm going to soon. Just because it really frustrates me not knowing like everything about this game. um,
Yeah.
because let's just get into it too. So we came across the interaction last night, and like, so we found out that cast triggers still happen on top of the stack, even if the creature is killed after the cast trigger goes off. The cast trigger goes off no matter what, unless you have a way to uh, counter the triggered or activated ability. So deflecting SWAT or whatever. Not deflective SWAT, but redirect, stuff like that, I think would be like the only way to stop it. Or if you just clear the stat completely. Those are really the only two ways to stop cast
Yeah.
triggers. And we talked about it at the table, and I think everyone thought I was right just from the stack standpoint, and I was wrong. That so I killed. You had Vivi on the table and Longbow. What's his name? Rebel.
Will Bowman.
Yeah,
Yep.
Rebel Bowman. Um, and you
And
casted
Fiery Emancipation.
true, and you cast
Shit was
a
intense.
instant or sorcery. I don't remember which it was. And
Hmm.
in response to that, I tried to kill both Rebel Bowman and Vivi, which I did, but it didn't matter because I still died. I would have still died anyway from the triggers. So it wouldn't have saved me, even though it probably would have hurt you long term in that game. Well, it turns out it didn't matter anyway because
Yeah.
Mike was going to proliferate you with poison counters the next turn regardless.
Right.
So it ended up
It
not
was
really
still
mattering, but
interesting though,
yeah.
because yeah, I mean it was kind of counterintuitive where I mean I've run into situations before where I knew that triggered abilities would exist independently of the source, but this seemed like a little bit different of a case where Vivi specifically says that Vivi's the one dealing damage.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of counterintuitive to learn that even if Vivi is removed from the battlefield, as long as that ability was on the stack, it's going to resolve even if Vivi's not in the zone that he was in when that originally happened. And that's true for any triggered ability, not
Mm-hmm.
just casting triggers. And so it was kind of,
Death
I
triggers. Yeah.
mean, yeah, any kind of triggered ability that'll happen where that ability exists independent of its source. And so it doesn't matter if the source is ultimately there when that ability ends up resolving, it's still going to happen.
But as you said, the
Uh,
reason we kind of before you looked it up after in more detail, the reason we both settled on that I was right with it being removed from the stack completely was because it specifically says Vivi deals the damage.
right.
But I guess that does not matter, which is just
Yeah.
man, all these
Kind
exceptions,
of
man.
crazy for sure. And if anyone is, really wanting to nerd out, it is Rule 113.7A, and you can go do your homework and read up on that. We won't spoil the fun for you. But
I
yeah,
read it,
pretty crazy. I mean,
and honestly, it made me
yeah,
mad
I
the whole time
mean,
I was reading it because I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me based on how I know the stack works. But okay.
yeah. Just another one of those, like, kind of, it almost feels almost like a loophole in a way.
Does.
Just like a very niche situation that you probably wouldn't experience too often, but good
Well,
to know. As
we
someone who runs a VV deck, good to
yeah,
know.
we realized that cast triggers are kind of just broken because there's very few cards that get rid of those.
Yeah, for sure. And then that kind of snowballed into us being like, how else can we fuck our brains tonight when trying to figure out more about magic? And so,
The
yeah,
amount
I mean, dude, the whole
the amount of stress that my mind has been under in the last 24 hours, I swear to God, I was dreaming about it last night.
so
Oh,
crazy. So crazy. And yeah, so also want to give a shout out to Rip Pull Repeat on IG because he came through with a solid response when we went to him just to try to get some more information. And he had a great example video he shared with Shia of the Wilds, which was kind of a similar situation to Toph in that it has just that static ability of, you know, in the case of Ashaya, making non-token permanence forests.
stays.
And still kind of that same idea of, you know, if you're enchanting something, and this was the part that was kind of crazy. So if you're enchanting with something like Frogify, for example, on let's say Toph, because we were talking about Toph
Mhm.
before. So Toph's non-token artifacts are lands. That is a type changing effect. So that's layer 4, but Frogify only affects layers 6 and 7.
Yep.
So since layer 4 already goes into effect, it still keeps happening, even though Toph will lose all the abilities, it will lose the earthbending ability, but it'll still have that type changing effect.
Because of the
And then
constant
even more
checks
mind
on
warping.
the layers.
Yeah, the constant checks
Yep.
every time that there's, you know, the shifting in priority. But then adding to that, that there's like differences in like a Frogify versus a Song of the Dryads or Imprisoned in the Moon, or Song of the Dryads and Imprisoned in the Moon, they actually do text changing effects, which is layer 3.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, Toph would lose the ability, at least as far as we understand, and going back and forth with Rip Pull Repeat, that seemed to be the consensus.
Mm-hmm.
So just wonky. I mean, one of those things that, again, like if you're just playing off of, well, reading the card explains the card,
Yeah.
eh,
It
eh,
really doesn't.
not really.
No,
Yeah,
it
not
really
really.
doesn't.
Yeah,
Um,
and if you, I mean, if you read the rule book too on layers, like there's very, very little information on really trying to help people understand it. So
and what's
that
crazy
didn't help
about that
anything
is
either.
too, Dan actually admitted, because I immediately brought up in Prison in the Moon about Toph. I was like, it literally changes the card itself. How is it not removing that ability? Like even looking at layers, I'm like that like it it removes everything. So it shouldn't even be checking for layers at that point. And I didn't realize it's because it actually hits the third layer or whatever. But I was actually right that it does completely change the text box, which starts at the third layer, which is just, man, uh, because like level
I
1 is
mean,
like
on the,
copy effects, and then
yeah,
level 2 is what?
2 is control changing effects,
Yeah,
3 is text changing effects, 4 is type changing effects, 5 is color changing effects, 6 is ability granting or removing, which is where Frogify starts to hit,
yeah.
and then 7 is power and or toughness changing effects. And there's a couple of sub bullets under that, but
It's interesting that that's
uh,
last. Very interesting that the power and toughness changes last. I feel like there's something we've all missed in an interaction somewhere where that shouldn't have been checked, but was um
yeah,
like using something
yeah,
that gives -X to win a turn or something like that. It feels like maybe that should have never resolved in certain interactions.
true. Yeah, I mean, I think someone needs to do a TED talk on this and explain it
God.
because I would venture to say probably most people that play, especially casual, probably don't even know what layers are. One, I mean, this
No.
is probably a lot of people's first time hearing about it, or if you have, it's just been like whispers, and you're like, yeah, whatever, layers, cool.
Like
Um,
me, like I said, like I played at competitive, very high levels in standard from 2008 to like 2010 or 11, and the conversation never came up about layers, not one time, not from a judge, not from a shop owner, not from someone who literally qualified for the pro tour. Like we just never talked about it ever because to my knowledge, it wasn't a thing at the time, or at least a known thing in any capacity.
yeah, well, and I mean, honestly, if it weren't for Toph, we probably still wouldn't be talking about it much because
Yeah.
it's like there's Toph, there's Ashaya, There's, Blood Moon, Magus of the Moon. I'm sure there's probably a couple of others, but I mean, out of the 27,000 plus cards that are printed, there's probably only a couple of handfuls that actually have to worry about
Yeah.
this. And it just so happens that one of them is very popular right now with
Yeah.
First Metal Bender.
Right.
So,
And like I said, in standard, which is why that you're seeing it come up in bigger parts of the internet rather than just in these, how do I say this without being mean, very niche corners of Magic internet.
yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, more to come. I mean, I need to do a lot more reading on it for sure.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, like I said to you guys, I mean, if you guys frogify Toph, I I don't, yeah, she has no abilities. I'm okay with that. Especially playing with like new players like my cousin, for example, we've been playing the last couple of months. I'm not going to sit there for, give a 2 hour lecture on, well,
Right.
here's why all my non-token artifacts, like, I'm not going to be that guy. Like,
That's
whatever,
that's
it's
a
gone. I don't care.
very it's a very good reminder to know who you're playing with in your pod. So if it was just like me, you, and Dan and Sam, for instance, we would probably apply the layers rules because we've been playing for a while. We understand. We've talked about it. But Mike, for instance, he has not had any discussion with us about this. We'd probably just say whatever, let it be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Know who's playing in your
Yeah.
pod.
Because with some people, like hearing that kind of what sounds like bull when you're just on the outside, it might make you just not want to play. Like, what are you just making up stuff now? Like, you're just making up, and then you got to go through the whole thing of like, well, dude, I don't really even fully understand it myself, but here's, all this info, and in the heat of the moment,
Yeah.
I don't know who really cares at the end of the
That's
day.
like table
So,
flipping material. I mean, even in our group chat last night, I was getting so frustrated about it, like for no reason, just because it just was logically not clicking for me. And then when I started to realize that, I was like, I hate this game. You know what? I really hate this game.
well, it's like you said, like as soon as you think you've got a good grasp on like, I know how to play this, I'm good. There's
Yeah.
always like a new chapter that it's like, oh wow, okay, well I guess maybe I don't know very
And
much at all.
yeah, and like I should have known about cast triggers. Like I feel like I very much should have known about that, but it just never came up for some reason. I guess because like death wasn't imminent or whatever when it was occurring. And yeah, the more you know.
And I mean, like most triggered abilities too, it's like they wouldn't have. I think what really threw us for a loop was the fact that Vivi said that Vivi was doing the damage. I think there's a lot of triggered abilities that will just say, if something happens, then this happens. And
Yeah.
we would probably play those correctly, but it
Yeah.
was the fact that it specifically called out Vivi. I think that was kind of what threw us for a loop,
Yeah, because if I was able to
and
take out
understandably so.
one of them, like Vivi specifically, I still would have lived for a turn. But yeah. Oh well, it is what it is. Yeah, always learning something about this game. And honestly, we started this podcast no small part in due to the fact that we do learn something every time we play. It seems like.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I will say I definitely got a lot better at control effing in the rule book and trying to read it a little bit better. Not that there's a whole lot there in some instances, but yeah.
Sometimes it just muddies the
Uh,
waters even more. Like when you look at the rules and sub rules, a lot of times you'll need to go
'Cause
to like an actual DCI judge or something and have them explain it to you because it's not
and
layman's
that's the
terms.
thing that kind of bothers me too, is like with cards like Toph or Ashaya, like if there's not many of them, have official rulings tagged onto the card
Yeah,
of like, hey, if you have a card that removes or target creature loses all abilities, this actually stays. Like have something that is tagged with it so that, especially like us, like when we're playing casual, that's our go-to thing is, well, let's open up mana box, let's check what the rulings on the card are and see what they say. And if there's nothing there, then it's
yeah.
like, okay, well, I guess I'll either read the rule book or I'll scour Reddit and hopefully someone knows what the hell they're talking about. And so,
Which is
yeah.
why I said it feels to me more like it slipped through R&D rather than being an intentional thing. But I could be wrong.
Well, and happier news, you got some insane polls from your Lorwyn experiences. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Birthday luck. So yeah, I just posted a video today of me like holding the box, and I posted. I didn't record myself opening because it took me all day. Because when I said I'd drink it, like I was gonna drink it in and take my time. I literally took my sweet time. Like I was literally any card I hadn't noticed before. I was looking at fine detail on the art, checking out who the artist was, that kind of thing. I was really drinking it in, and yeah, I posted my pools on TikTok. I'm about to post it on YouTube either tonight or tomorrow. And yeah, I mean I'll just go through the short list real quick of what I got. I mean, I got a Hexing Squelcher. I got a Wonder Wine Prophets guest star, which just getting a guest star in a box is pretty crazy in and of itself. I mean, sick. The art on that's so cool too. I got a Chronicle of Victory, which I'm torn on where I want to put this. If I want to put it in spiders or angels, I can't really decide. I kind of want to put it in spiders just because having first strike with those death touch, with the death touch ability makes that deck like way scarier. But then again, angels could always love this too. Bitter Bloom Bearer, easily my best hit. And then I got, let's see, I got a Aurora Awakener, tons of mythics. The alternate art, full art Catharsis, and a regular Catharsis is my only duplicate rare or mythic rare, which is also crazy. In a box, like you're almost guaranteed to get some dupes, but like no dupes. Emptiness, Mutable Explorer, which I actually opened up out of my first pack. That was neat. Blood Crypt,
Awesome card.
Steam Vents, Overgrown Tomb, and then the buy a box promo that I got from JJ. Shouts out to Hooves Hangout where I got the box was Harmonized Crescendo, which I am putting in spiders for obvious reasons.
Oof.
Yeah. Alternate art, full art. It's got these pretty swirls on it. Really just nice for tribal. And yeah, it might be the best box I've ever had, honestly. That many mythics in a box. Most of the shock lands. I couldn't be happier. Hexing Squelcher, Bitter Bloom Bear, like those were the two I wanted to hit, honestly. And I well, the only card I didn't hit was Oko that I wanted to hit. I wanted to hit an Oko and I didn't, but that's fine. I'll just order him. It's no big deal. Can't complain too much.
Yeah, I feel like you're back in it now. Like you've leveled out after the jumpstart experience we had with Avatar. You got your luck back, and
Yeah.
definitely made up for it with those pulls. I'd say for sure.
For sure. And non-magic related, I pulled that $500 Charizard from
Okay.
Crimson, whatever it's called, Pokemon set. So yeah, that was nuts.
Dang, what you buying me?
I'm gonna send it off and get it graded. I'm gonna send it off and get it graded.
Oh, you should.
Yeah, hopefully, if it gets a 10, it's like well over $2,000. So
Okay.
hoping to get that puppy with a 10. But yeah, I also got the I did get the Auntie Ool precon, which is a very interesting deck. I almost got the Elementals one because I just think the cards in it are better, but I just really like the weird, fun blight concept with Auntie Ool. And she made her debut last night. She didn't win, but she held her own. And honestly, I was pretty impressed with what minor upgrades I made to it, that it performed as well as it did.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, it was very unique. I've not played a deck that was -1/-1 counter synergy.
Yeah.
And she does her thing. Is Blight new to this set?
It's specific
Or
to,
has that been around?
yeah, Blight's specific to this set. The mechanic is meaning like you put a -1/-1 counter on your own thing. as either a cost to like a ward cost or something like paying for card draw or adding color to your mana pool, stuff like that. So,
Gotcha. Yeah, she's cool. I mean, she's got built-in protection. She has card draw. Can cause people to lose life. I mean, what more do you want from a commander? So, not too shabby at all.
yeah, smooches, baby, smooches.
Come get them.
Come get Auntie smooches. No, but I mean, I think it's a pretty good, well synergized deck. I was drawing a ton of cards. I just didn't really hit what I needed in moments where I needed it, which kind of sucked. But it also happens when you're getting your cards stolen. So.
Yeah. Mike with his toxic deck. He was
Yeah.
what is it? Ixal? Is that
Ixal.
the
No.
commander that he has? Yeah. Yeah, that was a tough combo because you had a couple of, I mean, you only had a couple of cards that were like poison related, but it just so happened that you played those while Mike was also doing his poison. And so poison. So it was just like poison overload.
Yeah, I got out Vraska and I proliferated Sam to death, unfortunately for him. And then I almost had you. But yeah.
That was fun though.
Yep.
That was cool to see that deck for sure. And that was your first June deck, right?
It was my first Jund deck, yeah.
Jund.
Jund. Yep.
Jund, whatever it is. Jund. Okay.
I've never played Jund in any format ever. Like not even in standard ever. It's never been really something I've messed with. And yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it so far.
That was how I was with Corvold. That was the first time doing that color scheme, and
I'm gonna say it right now.
Man, Corvold has become fun.
Corvold's your best commander. I don't know if it's your best deck, but he's your best commander. He is scary, dude.
He is, yeah, he's pretty insane. He is pretty insane. But I think a lot less, I should say, a lot less salty than Chatterfang. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it feels like it's less salty.
I didn't really have much salt towards Chatterfang, to be honest with you. I think Tifa is your saltiest deck because you can just nuke people. But honestly, I don't think there's ways around Tifa, like exiling her, or just killing her straight up. And yeah, I don't know. I'm more scared of Corvold than I am any of your commanders. That static ability to just ping everyone, like that stacks up like pretty heavy.
You mean with like getting him stronger? You mean with the +1s and drawing cards and yeah, especially dude, because red, there's so many great treasure generators now, and it's just like it gets shiesty real fast.
Yeah, because there's just so many options for you,
Yeah,
so many
tokens,
outlets.
man. I'm loving it. Yeah. Loving that token life. Which, speaking of which, we're gonna have a new token life here with this mono black deck. I'm coming in, rats, baby, rats all day.
Without relentless rats or
I know
rat colony, you're just going random rats. I love it.
I mean, I thought about doing those. I thought about doing, like just 30 relentless rats and then the commander, but they're like $3 each, and it's like, do I really want to spend, whatever, $900 or not 900, but whatever it is, just
$900.
Not worth it. I'm not gonna have like 3/4 of my deck value just be a common creature, but no, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I'm happy for the year of the swamps taking off. It'll be good. It's gonna be a good year.
Yeah. I've got Gwenum. I still need a couple cards for her. But I want to try her out again soon. Definitely she's good enough for a theme night already. Like she can still play pretty well. It's just there's a couple things I want to do with her that I haven't ordered yet. But then, speak of the devil, the Fallout Secret Lair just happened, and I was able to get the unique pack, which was the Ghoul and Lucy and Titus and Power Armor, which is a reprint. But I'm stoked. I'm gonna make a Ghoul deck, so I'm gonna make 3 mono black decks this year. I'm gonna make the Ghoul deck. I got Gwenom that I'm fixing up, and then that Doom Artifacts deck whenever Marvel happens. So yeah, Year of the
I'm
Swamp
excited for
indeed.
that Doctor Doom deck. That'll be. And you said that's not the same Doom that's going to be in the precon, right?
No, because he's
Okay.
3 colors. He is what colors is he? He might no. He's blue, black, and red. I want to say. I think he's Grixis colors. He's Grixis colors.
Gotcha. Okay.
And he's all about villains synergy and discarding lands. Oddly enough, I guess when you're conniving, Yeah,
So probably a lot of like graveyard recursion or something.
no doubt. I mean, obviously the deck list isn't out yet, but just his ability is revealed.
Most
And
likely. Yeah.
apparently, there's a lot of unique cards specifically for those commander decks. So that's gonna be interesting. See what all that is.
That's pretty cool.
I pre-ordered it. I pre-ordered that in a collector booster box, and I pre-ordered the gift bundle because I'm an insane person and I'm a Marvel slut.
Speaking of pre-orders, I mean, as if they were throwing enough at us with, Lorwyn and now the Fallout Secret Lair, and oh, by the way, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, and by the way, Marvel, and then oh, by the way, here's some Strixhaven things.
Hmm.
And I'm actually really excited for this Strixhaven set. I
The new
think,
mystical archives,
I
bro. Whoo, they look great.
dude, oh, they look so great, so great. And what was that card that I had mentioned? Was it Mathemagics?
Oh yeah,
Is that what the name of that card
math
was?
magics. I think. Yeah.
Insane. Yeah, Mathemagics,
You draw
which I
cards.
mean, XX, 2 blue, target player draws 2 to the X cards.
Mm-hmm.
What? I mean, I love that. And I hate like my inner math
Yeah, I
nerd
know. I'm saying
really hates
it's so
that they
cringe.
put in parentheses. It's like, what? Like if and I was thinking about this tonight. It's like, aren't we all nerds here? Like if you're a nerd playing Magic and you can't f***ing do 2 to the 1, like don't play this game. That's insane. That is insane. And I get, maybe on like the basic art version, but the full art, they even put reminder text. They never put reminder text
I know.
on, the borderless versions, but they were like, we can't count on people to do 2 to the 2.
It's so cringe, man.
What?
I know.
Oh man. I'm gonna just take a Sharpie and just line that part out.
I love that.
But it'd be a great card.
Yeah, no, I mean, some crazy potential there. Tons of card draw potentially.
Not to, we're jumping around here, but I just thought of this too with your Lorwyn. Did you end up getting a pre-release kit for Lorwyn also?
No, I didn't do that. I just did the
Okay.
box and the Auntie Ul precon. I figured that was enough.
Kind of insane the whole the oopsie daisy with having leaked Teenage Mutant Ninja cards in there. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know how that
honestly,
happens.
my hype is kind of dying down a little bit for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I love the turtles, and I still want to do that pizza box thing, but and I don't know if I'm gonna build that commander after all. I don't know. The precon. I'm just not.
Mhm.
I don't know. I just not that interested in it. In that specifically as a commander. I think the set has some really insane cards in it from what's been previewed, and I'll probably buy them and throw them in things. But I just don't think I'm gonna make that commander. I may change my mind once the hype gets here, but as of right now, I'm so immersed in universe stuff with Auntie and all the Lorwyn stuff, and I'm starting to re-sour on Universes Beyond. I say that when I pre-ordered a bunch of Marvel stuff, but
That's fair though. I mean, you're a big Marvel fan, and
yeah,
I mean, it seems like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles set is going to be a little bit smaller. I don't know if it'll be as small as Spider-Man, but it seems like it's maybe like kind of that idea of just like maybe it didn't really need to be a full set, but hey,
yeah.
here's some more content for you. I'm excited to see if they have some rats though that I might be able to throw in this rat deck. So we'll see.
Master
We'll
Splinter,
see
you
if
would
they.
think. At least him.
Yeah, there's one version with him. I can't remember exactly what his ability is, but it's something to the effect of you get to bring all rats back from your graveyard to the battlefield, which that could be
They
pretty
revealed
spicy.
they revealed that one rat guy from the set that's not Master Splinter, and everyone's talking about how he's going to be an insane rat tribal commander, but I can't think of his name. It was somebody got it in their pre-release kit.
Which I don't get how that happens, man. I mean I get accidents happen, but that seems like a big accident to just have pre-release kits with a completely different set that
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, again, it harkens back to what I said. R&D. It's just not good. And well, do we want to touch on the fact that Wizards of the Coast is getting sued?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I don't
So,
really
I mean,
understand the jargon behind it, like what the implications actually are. I know people just say, "Oh, they're getting sued because they overprinted sets," but what is that actually going to accomplish, and will it be upheld? Because I don't. I think it's a big nothing burger, personally.
yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I read the article, but what I remember taking away from it, at least one of the things that was in the lawsuit, was concerns about the secondary market not being able to hold value like it used to because they're flooding the market with so much supply. But I guess the thing, at least for that specific point, that I think about is like, is it really WotC's responsibility to care about the secondary market? I don't feel like that's really. So I feel like that's kind of a weak point in that I can't imagine a judge is going to say, oh, yeah, like the secondary market for these pieces of cardboard, you have to care about that.
The
Um,
secondary market, which
but
legally probably shouldn't exist to begin with.
right. Yeah.
Like
So I don't know. I mean,
where
I
else
think,
can you resell retail products? I mean, because that's what they are, retail products.
yeah,
Collectible market's the only place that can do that. If you try to do that with
right.
like Windex or milk, you're gonna get the cops called on you.
So we'll see what actually comes out of that lawsuit. It was interesting though, just to from the perspective of WotC getting pressure, or I guess really it's Hasbro.
It
It's not
is.
even
It's
WotC, it's
Hasbro.
just
Yeah.
it's CEO of Hasbro. So it's interesting that there's pressure that's outside of just the community complaining, because I feel like if we've learned anything over 2025, it's that Hasbro really doesn't care
No.
whether or not we're feeling overwhelmed because that is their cash cow. They are failing in pretty much every other business unit that they have. And so if they have a chance to expand their market strictly from like a appeasing stockholder or shareholders perspective, they're going to do it and they're not going to care how you feel about it. So it was interesting
Yeah.
that there's pressure from another perspective that maybe could have an influence, maybe not, but maybe at least getting some conversation started on like, hey, are we doing too much right now? Um,
You know what they care
so
about is
interesting.
money. That's what they care about. They don't care about anything else.
Right.
And if you think that they
Yeah.
do, you're lying to yourself.
100%.
Like I
100%.
think a lot of people at Wizards care about the game and it's the player base, but I Hasbro doesn't at all, dude. Not at all.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if there are a lot of people at Wizards that are trying to like slow down the train, but there's probably just a lot of pressure that they can't necessarily control to keep everything moving.
Yeah, well, so something I've not really seen a lot of talk about this, but it's just something that I've observed because I play standard on Arena. And so, I'm really in tune with what the meta is and what cards are in and being played a lot. And, you know, it almost seems intentional that the in universe stuff that's being printed is so much more powerful in standard than it is with the universes beyond stuff. Like everyone talked about how broken Final Fantasy was. Like it was such an insane set. And yeah, I still think it's a good set, but at the end of the day, like there's more stuff in Spider-Man being played in standard than there is from Final Fantasy. And that was a much smaller set. The core of everything that's being played is from Edge of Eternity, uh, you know, now Lorwyn, going back to Tarkir, even further back to March of the Machine and all that. All that stuff, Foundations, all that stuff is getting played way more than any of the Universes Beyond stuff. And to your point, it feels intentional to me. And maybe it's not, maybe it's a coincidence, but to me it feels intentional. It's like the WotC folks are just hanging on to that last little bit. Like, yeah, we got bought out by Hasbro, but it's still our game.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, it was kind of interesting when you mentioned that about, Final Fantasy and not a lot of cards being played because I went back through my deck list and, I don't play standard, but have a number of commander decks now. And, there's a lot of cards that were really cool from Final Fantasy, but you're right. Like, there's not a lot that have like stayed in my deck long term in the
Yeah.
sense that like these need to be here because they're just that good. Um, so
I
yeah,
mean, there were broken
we
cards, no doubt. I mean, Vivi, of course, was one of the
for
most broken
sure.
cards ever
Vivi,
printed.
Tifa,
Yeah.
there's a couple for sure. Cloud even,
But it's wild.
both
Even
clouds.
Tifa's not even
But
played anymore right now because, in standard at least, because you've got stuff like Simic, Aurora, I would never, Aurora Borid. That's the number one.
oh, from Edge of Eternities.
Yeah. That's the number one deck right now by far. So, like, it doesn't. Ouroboros is just crushing standard right now. And I don't even know if there's. I mean, there is a landfall deck being played in standard. But Tifa's not even being played in it. That's what's crazy about it.
People
So,
have moved on from my girl apparently.
yeah,
I'm still
man.
here for her.
It's just. I think it was a really good set for Commander. Um,
Yeah.
I I just don't think it was really good for standard.
But even like you said, even with it being good for Commander, like there were a lot of great Edge of Eternities cards too, and Tarkir Dragonstorm, and
Yeah,
so the in-universe stuff is still bangers.
I forget the name of the card, but let me actually go look through my list right now. But I noticed in my bulk I had a card from Edge of Eternities that was a hollow card that I immediately put into Brea once I realized what it did, and it's a tutor that tutors for a scour for scrap. It's 3 mana, 3 anything in a blue. It's an instant. Choose one. It's an instant. Crazy. Choose one or both. Search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle, and then return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Insane. So good for
Wow.
4 mana at instant speed. Being able to do both of those things. Instant tutors are always fun, and then being able to pull something out of your graveyard as well. Like, just simple uncommons like that are kind of just bonkers, and that set was completely glossed over because of Spider-Man and Avatar. And I couldn't say, I mean, we talked about it before on prior pods, but I couldn't give, I need, like, everyone should give more love to that set because it's an incredible set.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a cool. I don't think I've ever seen that card before. 28 cents too.
Yeah.
You can't beat that.
28 cents. It's like it's $1.79 for the foil version for some reason.
Love that artwork too.
Yeah, man, so pretty. So pretty. Yeah. One other thing I want to talk about before we wrap it up tonight. We actually did have a couple topics, but I think the one we should talk about is we didn't do any of our segments tonight, which is fine. Sometimes we're just not going to if nothing's crazy going on. But we talked about what is a card that should be unbanned from Commander. Like, what time? Like, it's time for some of these to be unbanned. I feel like, especially with the power creep. So, which one would you pick to be unbanned immediately?
I'm just selfishly, I'm not like objectively looking at this. This is just a selfish decision, 100%. I would love to see Dockside Extortionist, especially now that I have a token generating deck with Corvold that has red. I would love to see Dockside Extortionist just to have another treasure source. I understand that in CEDH, this caused a whole lot of problems, but to me, I think that's what the bracket system is supposed to help fix. And so I think that's why, whatever that third party group beforehand that was doing all the bannings, like I think a lot of those need to be reevaluated and some already have. But, if we have a bracket system, and that if you run this card, it's a particular bracket or whatever, then I feel like that should solve the problem.
Yeah.
And honestly, Dockside, if you're playing casual, is not going to be all that crazy. If you're playing CEDH, I could see that being crazy because a lot of fast moving mana rocks. But if you're playing casual, I mean, this is not going to be all that crazy.
Yeah.
So I will selfishly choose Dockside, and I'm hoping for that day to come.
I'm going to be selfish here too and pick my second favorite card of all time to be unbanned. And that's Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn. Listen, I get it. It's stupid. It's 15, like, it can't be countered. You get to take an extra turn. It has Annihilator 6, so it basically has haste, and you get to, crush a bunch of stuff from your opponent's side. And I get that, it has protection from colored spells. I understand that. I get that. But at the end of the day, when you look at the broad landscape of Commander, is this card really that broken considering all the other things that aren't banned? Like, it's still 15 mana. Yes, there's ways to cheat it in. I totally get that too. But you can cheat in other things that are just as broken as Emrakul. So, I think that, like you said, bracket systems should help resolve a lot of these. I honestly would love to see most of these cards get unbanned, and if you play too many of them, then you're automatically bracket 5. Like, put a threshold. If you play this many game changers, you're automatically bracket 5. You're too much into the CEDH area. You could have, up to so many and be bracket 4. Like, yeah, you're optimized, you're playing these crazy cards, but it's still probably going to take you a little bit of time to get there. It's not going to be like a turn 2-3 thing like it is with CEDH. I think if we're going to have the bracket system, let's lean on the bracket system. Let's really heavily define it, and then let's let people have fun, man. I want to play Emrakul. Like, it's my second favorite card ever, and I haven't got to play it since it was in Standard.
And honestly, it's like, especially in casual games, like if you can afford to pay 15 mana, the game should end.
Yeah.
Like the game
Let's
should
get it
not
over
keep
with,
going
brother.
on. Right.
Like,
Yeah.
like last
Yeah.
night, like we got in that gridlock and that game just drug on. And like, if we were running a little more powerful stuff, like somebody could have ended it and it would have been a lot better. Maybe we got in another game. Yeah. Let's
And I was thinking about this too with
games in.
like game changers and the bracket system. Like, part of me feels like maybe we need CEDH to stop being connected with EDH because the style of play is so dramatically different
Yeah.
that maybe we need to have like two different game changer lists of this is a game changer for CEDH, but if you're playing it in just casual EDH, it's really not that big of a deal, and maybe differentiate a little bit because yeah, cards like Emrakul, cards like Dockside, like yeah, if you're playing CEDH, like there's a lot of ways that you could really do some crazy shit with them, but if you're playing casual, it's just they're totally different cards.
Yeah.
And so are you gonna ban them just because one small sliver on the pie chart would abuse it when there's these all, whole other, and you could say, well, you can rule zero, but it's like, yeah, but also CEDH and EDH are just so fundamentally different. I'm tired of them just being lumped together and treated as though
They're not
we
the
got to
same.
have the same band rules.
Yeah, it's
Totally different.
it's a completely different game, which is why I said if you have too many of those game changer cards, then you're not allowed in regular EDH. You're automatically CEDH.
Yeah.
I think we just need to do that. And honestly, like having some parameters to build around is also nice because, like, I don't really know what Brea is. Like, I know Brea is not CDH because I'm not consistently winning on turn 3 and 4. Like, can I win on turn 4? Yes. Does it happen very often? Absolutely not. I have to have the right things in my hand for that to happen, and it's very rare. It's happened twice ever in the millions of times I've played the deck. So, um, like, yeah, like 4 is where I think I'd like to play, like 3 to 4 range, like where I want people to play the cards they want to play, but not to the point where it's going to end games within 2 or 3 turns. Like, I like infinite combos. I'm fine with people having them in their deck. When Sam wins with Tivit, I'm never mad. It's like, dude, yeah, finally the game ended. Great. Let's move on. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not I like poison counters seem a little cheaty to me still. Like, I still think they need to up that to the number, just because you can proliferate it so fast. But even still, like, make that automatically bracket 4, and I'm fine. Like, let's roll, let's play.
Right.
Yeah, we need more defined. We need a more defined system, and that way players actually know what they can tell their pod, like what their deck is that they're playing. Because I don't know what half of my stuff is. Like, I, like, spiders sometimes feels like a bracket 2, sometimes it feels like a bracket 4, like if it gets out of hand. I don't really know what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
um
Totally. I
so
run into that with Tifa, where it's like, yeah, some games, like especially if I'm playing 1v1, there are some games where I can win on turn 4, and if I'm doing 1v1, I could pretty consistently win maybe turn 5 or 6. But if I'm playing a real bracket 4 deck, she's never going to live long enough
yeah,
to be able to do what
too
I
much
need to do to
removal.
win on turn 4. Yeah.
Yeah,
And mono green is not going to be able to keep up with someone playing Grixis or, Is It or something like that. It's just not going to be able to. So, yeah, you're right. We have like a lot of metrics, more metrics than we used to, which I think is good. Like the bracket system has grown on me a lot, but I do think there's still just a lot more development just to, like you said, help people know, like, all right, well, what is this really? So when I go up to a table, I don't run into issues like I do sometimes with Tifo, where people are like, no, this is, bracket 4. We don't want to play this. And it's like, what are you talking about, man? You run black or blue. Like, I'm if you start doing stuff like, so,
or like,
yeah,
it just matchups too, because like if you're running Tifa and I'm running
yeah,
Angels, you're probably gonna die. Like, I'm probably gonna kill you. I've got
yeah,
so much singular removal, and I can just fly over top of all your stuff. So
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point. Like having some more details on just thinking ways to think about matchups would be kind of interesting too.
Yeah.
Um,
I almost think to make it fair, because I'm not going to name names, but some people I feel like wait to pick what they're going to play. Like, I usually say up front what I'm playing, and then I feel like some people wait to pick counter matchup to that.
yeah,
I think we should just implement in our pod how I've been doing it, the Wheel of Destiny. Whatever it lands on, I'm playing, and it's just completely random.
yeah, that's fair. I think the one problem maybe would just be we would just have to find a way of like maybe not considering all of our decks, but like, all right, what kind of bracket do we want? Do we want to do it like a bracket 2 game and
Yeah.
then choose from those decks or something
No,
so we don't have like
for
a,
sure. Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
a Brea going against my rat deck that is made entirely from my collection. It has
Yeah.
like 10 rats in it.
No, that would just be mean. Or we could treat it like
But
priority, like whoever loses first gets to pick last, so they know what deck to play to maybe try to win.
yeah,
I think we could do
that
that.
seems fair
Yeah.
for sure.
All
It
right.
is fun though that now we all kind of have like a handful of options and kind of can keep, because for so long I was really just playing the same deck over and over, and I love my Omnith deck. I still love my Omnith deck, but sometimes it's just nice to be like, you know what, I'm in the mood for this, or I'm in the
Yep.
mood for that, or maybe we do 3 games. And I want to do a different one each game. It just kind of
Dude, I'm
the
so in for the
variety.
theme nights though. Like, we need people to start making
Yeah,
mono decks, or even when we do, like, we could do 2 color decks or whatever, but later on. But I think theme nights are so great and such a good idea, because
yeah,
there's a lot of synergy there, and it's more balanced, I feel like. So
and even like it didn't. I mean, I think color theme nights would be really cool, but even just like archetype theme nights, like when we had that one game where we were doing token decks, and like I did
Yeah.
Corvold, you did Food and Friends, and Sam did Tivit, and
Yeah.
like just the archetype themes,
Or
like
like
it's kind of
tribal
fun when.
decks. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we gotta start doing that for sure.
I agree. Not always fun because it is, but I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Try to make it a
for
little
sure.
more even footing because I feel like sometimes it's not, and it sucks for the person who's on the receiving end of that. Yeah. All right. Well, we've rambled about everything tonight. But honestly, that's what this was intended to be from its inception. So I'm
For
glad we
sure.
had a lot to talk about. I just want to say again, we had Magic Mama on our last podcast as our very first guest. She was incredible. Go check out that pod if you haven't. Go check out her content if you haven't. Uh, Jen's a really really cool person, and that was sick having her on. So thanks again, Magic
Yeah,
Mama.
thanks, Jen. Yeah, that was awesome. We definitely gotta get you in the Cincinnati area too and have a ladies' night.
Yeah, I'll wear a wig and a dress. I don't care.
Oh yeah. I'll cosplay as Tifa. Let's go.
Okay, well, bye,
Well,
bye,
bye.
bye.